They say space is silent, but that's not true. It hums, not with sound. Sound cannot travel through the vacuum, but with motion, with radiation, with the endless flow of light. Scientists once discovered that even in the darkest regions of space, between galaxies, there is a faint glow called cosmic background radiation, a leftover signal from the beginning of time itself, a quiet reminder of the Big Bang and the fact that the universe still remembers its birth. Astronomers noticed something strange years ago. The universe isn't just expanding, it's accelerating, as if some invisible force is pulling everything apart. They named it dark energy. It makes up 68% of the universe, and no one knows what it is. One scientist said, "It's like the universe is playing a trick, and we're still trying to understand the punchline." Above Earth, space is less than an hour's journey away, yet over 100 billion galaxies exist beyond our sight. Each one a city of stars. Some stars are so massive that if they replaced our sun, their edges would reach beyond Jupiter. Others burn so cold that snow could form on their surfaces. And somewhere out there, wandering through the dark, are rogue planets, worlds with no home, drifting endlessly without a sun. But space keeps its secrets well. There's a planet 40 light-years away where it rains solid diamonds. Not metaphorically, literally diamonds falling from the sky. Another world called Kelt 9b is hotter than some stars, with temperatures over 4,000 degrees Celsius. And on one lonely moon of Saturn, Enceladus, geysers shoot water into space, water containing molecules linked to life. Sometimes what looks empty might be alive. Even time behaves strangely in space. Near Earth's surface, time runs slightly slower than it does in orbit. GPS satellites must correct for this every day. Without Einstein's theory of relativity, your phone's map would be wrong by 7 miles every 24 hours. The deeper scientists looked, the stranger it became. In the heart of a black hole, gravity is so intense that the laws of physics simply stop working. Light cannot escape. Matter is crushed. Space and time themselves begin to bend. Some astronomers believe every large galaxy has a supermassive black hole at its center, including ours, waiting, silent, with its event horizon like a door that only opens one way. And one day, it may wake. When the James Webb Space Telescope turned its mirrors toward deep space, it saw galaxies that shouldn't exist. Too early, too massive, too structured. It was as if the universe built stars faster than anyone thought possible. Suddenly, the timeline of cosmic history had to be reconsidered. Perhaps the beginning wasn't what we thought. Then came a different mystery. In 2007, astronomers detected a sudden burst of energy from deep space, a pulse lasting only milliseconds, then another, then hundreds. They're called fast radio bursts, and some release more energy than the sun does in an entire year. No one knows what causes them. Some repeat, some never return. All of them echo through the void, like unanswered questions. But maybe the biggest mystery is us. Earth is the only known world with life, but statistically, there should be millions, maybe billions of planets with oceans, air, maybe even civilizations. So why haven't we found anyone? Some call it the Great Filter, the possibility that every intelligent species reaches a point where it simply disappears, before contact can ever be made. In the oldest star maps ever found, humans drew constellations to make sense of the night. Today, satellites fill the sky, and rovers explore other worlds. But no matter how far our technology reaches, Space remains quiet, too quiet, as if something is listening, but choosing not to speak. Our galaxy alone holds up to 400 billion stars, yet radio telescopes hear only static. Maybe we're early. Maybe we're late. Maybe civilizations last only a moment, like sparks in a storm. And still, through every unanswered question, humanity keeps searching for signals, for life, for truth. Perhaps it doesn't matter how vast space is or how small we are. What matters is that someone, somewhere, looked into the infinite and decided to keep going. Because in the silence, there might be a message. And someday, the universe might finally answer. But whether we're ready for that answer, no one can say.
Stars are born in clouds of dust so massive they could swallow entire solar systems. Inside them, gravity squeezes gas until it ignites, creating nuclear fire that can burn for billions of years. But not all stars die quietly. The most powerful of them explode as supernovae, releasing more energy in seconds than the sun will in its entire lifetime. The shock waves forge metals, gold, silver, even the iron in human blood. Every atom in the human body was once inside a star. But the universe has stranger deaths reserved for certain stars. Some collapse into neutron stars, so dense that a teaspoon of their material would weigh 1 billion tons on Earth. Others form magnetars, stellar corpses with magnetic fields so strong they could erase every credit card on Earth from halfway across the galaxy. Yet somehow, even death creates beauty. Nebulas, those colorful clouds we see in space photos, are actually the remains of stars that once shined, now drifting as cosmic ashes, waiting to become planets again someday. In space, endings often become beginnings. In the year 1977, a signal was detected from deep space. It lasted just 72 seconds. It was never heard again. Scientists called it the wow signal because no one knew how else to react. Some thought it was a cosmic accident. Others suspected something else was trying to reach us. Once, but never sent another word. Years later, another mystery appeared above Earth. Sprites, red lightning that shoots up toward space, not down to the ground. They last only milliseconds. Some pilots believed they were hallucinations until cameras captured them. Electricity rising, as if reaching for the stars. The more humans explored, the more the universe seemed to whisper, "Look deeper." On Mars, rover wheels left patterns in the dust. On Venus, lightning flashed beneath toxic skies. On Mercury, ice was found where the sun never reaches. Even comets, once believed to be simple chunks of rock, carried organic molecules like seeds delivered between worlds. And scientists began asking a chilling question. What if life doesn't just adapt to space? What if space spreads life? There are places in space where the laws of physics start to fall apart. Inside wormholes, space might fold like pages of a book touching each other, a shortcut between two distant points. But if wormholes exist, they might be unstable, collapsing before anything could pass through. Some scientists believe they might even appear naturally, in the tiniest scales of reality, flickering faster than we can observe. Then there's the Boötes void, a region of space 700 million light-years wide, almost completely empty. Astronomers call it the Great Nothing, as if the universe left a blank page, intentionally. But sometimes the unknown is closer than expected. A black hole was recently discovered just 1,500 light-years away, silent, waiting, completely invisible except for the stars orbiting something they cannot see. It's a reminder that space does not need to be far to be terrifying. One day, the sun will die. Its fuel will run out. It will expand into a red giant, swallowing Mercury and possibly Earth. But long before that happens, humanity may already be gone or traveling among the stars, searching for another home. Some scientists believe the universe itself will end the same way stars do, not with a bang, but a slow fading. Galaxies drifting apart, stars burning out, leaving nothing but cold, silent darkness. A future without light, a universe without memory. Or something else might happen. Maybe dark energy changes. Maybe black holes open. Maybe the universe restarts in a cycle. Death, then rebirth. Another big bang. Another chance. In the face of all this uncertainty, humanity continues its most ancient instinct. It looks up. It wonders. It searches. And somewhere, beyond the stars we know, beyond the questions we've asked, there may be something watching, waiting, or maybe, just maybe, wondering about us, too. The story of space isn't finished, and neither are we.
Space is not just darkness, it is missing information. Nearly everything humans can see with telescopes, stars, planets, comets, galaxies, all of it adds up to less than 5% of the universe. Everything else is invisible. Scientists call it dark matter and dark energy, but these names are placeholders, labels for questions we haven't answered. Decades ago, astronomers noticed something impossible. Galaxies were spinning too fast. By all known physics, they should have ripped themselves apart, but they didn't. Something massive was holding them together. It wasn't stars, it wasn't gas, it wasn't anything detectable. It was dark matter, an invisible skeleton giving shape to the cosmos. Attempts were made to find it. Underground laboratories were built beneath mountains, shielded from radiation and interference. Giant tanks filled with pure liquid xenon were placed in absolute darkness, waiting for just one particle of dark matter to touch it. Days passed, months, years. Nothing. But scientists kept waiting, because sometimes silence means something is there. Meanwhile, dark energy seemed to be pushing everything apart, the opposite of dark matter. Two forces, both unseen, one binding the cosmos together, one tearing it apart. Equal, opposing, locked in a cosmic conversation that has been going on since the beginning. Some researchers believe dark matter might not just shape galaxies, it might shape life too. It passes through every living being, through bones, blood, brain, every second, without being felt. It might influence the formation of planets, the birth of stars, even the arrangement of DNA. The universe may be sculpting life quietly without ever revealing its tools. The questions grow deeper. What if dark matter is not just something outside us, but something we're part of? What if entire civilizations have existed that never detected it and disappeared without answers? What if we are next? The search continues. In labs, observatories, and in the silence between stars. Somewhere in that emptiness, a truth is waiting, not to be discovered, but to be understood. When radio telescopes first scanned the sky, scientists thought they would quickly detect intelligent life. But instead of voices, they found pulsars, dead stars spinning rapidly, emitting perfect patterns of radio waves. When they were discovered in 1967, the signal was so precise that researchers briefly labeled it LGM-1, Little Green Men. It wasn't aliens, just physics, magnificent, terrifying physics. But it raised a question: if nature can create signals that mimic intelligence, would we even recognize a real one? Some signals arrive in milliseconds, fast radio bursts that blaze and vanish before detection is even complete. Some repeat, some don't. Some are so powerful they carry more energy than our sun produces in a year, packed into a single heartbeat. No theory fully explains them. Then came the Tabby star mystery, a distant star whose brightness flickered in ways no natural process could explain. Some suggested dust, others thought it might be a swarm of comets, but the most daring theory, a Dyson sphere, a megastructure built by an advanced civilization to harvest the energy of their star. A technological achievement so enormous humans could barely imagine it, yet some scientists treated it seriously. Space might contain civilizations so advanced that their technology looks like nature itself. But there is another silence, the planets discovered in the Goldilocks zone, not too hot, not too cold, places where liquid water might exist. Thousands have been found. More will come, but none have spoken to us. Maybe intelligent life is rare. Maybe it's common, but quiet. Maybe they exist, but watch us like archaeologists observing a culture too young to meet. Or maybe they're already gone. Entire civilizations erased by cosmic disasters or their own inventions. Empty worlds may exist across the galaxy, ruins without ruins. A silence that once had a voice. Still, humanity keeps listening, because one day a reply might come, and when it does, everything will change. Some objects in the universe should be impossible, yet they exist, and they defy physics itself. There is a planet, Tres 2b, that reflects almost no light. It is darker than charcoal, darker than black paint, nearly invisible against space. It absorbs 99% of all light that hits it. If someone looked toward it, they would see nothing, a star and a shadow. Then there are rogue planets, entire worlds drifting alone between stars, homeless, frozen, endless night on every surface. And yet some scientists believe they might still have life beneath their ice layers, heated from within by radioactive decay. Oceans sealed under darkness, creatures that live without sun, without sky, without stars. Some moons shine with mystery instead of light. Europa, one of Jupiter's moons, is covered in ice, but beneath it, there might be an ocean larger than all of Earth's oceans combined. NASA believes hydrothermal vents line its seabed, just like the ones that may have birthed life on Earth. That means Europa might be alive right now. Not tomorrow, not maybe, now. Enceladus, another icy moon, sends geysers of water into space. Some spacecraft have flown through its plumes and found molecules associated with biology. Simple, but promising. As if somewhere beneath its crust, something might be breathing. What if life doesn't need Earth? What if it's waiting? Everywhere. Even stranger are cosmic voids, places where almost nothing exists. They span hundreds of millions of light years, nearly empty, like the universe left blank pages between galaxies. Why? No theory explains their purpose, but some scientists wonder if something is better left unseen. Space doesn't simply contain beauty, it contains questions disguised as facts. And sometimes the most beautiful things are the ones that almost can't exist at all. As humanity explores, one truth grows clearer. Our presence in the universe might be brief. Stars live for billions of years, black holes, trillions, but human civilization, barely 10,000. We are the newest voice in a very old universe. And yet somehow we feel compelled to search, to measure, to question the void, as if something within us recognizes something beyond us, like a distant memory we haven't lived yet. Some researchers believe consciousness itself might be connected to the universe's structure, not separate from it. Maybe life isn't an accident, but a consequence, a natural outcome of matter organizing itself. If that's true, then perhaps the universe wants to know itself. Still, we reach limits. Black holes hide their secrets behind event horizons. Dark matter refuses to be seen. Time itself bends, slows, and stretches depending on where you stand. The universe plays with reality like it's not finished writing it yet. And maybe it isn't. The ending of the universe, if there is one, might not be anything we imagine. Maybe stars will die and galaxies will drift apart until only darkness remains. Or maybe a new cycle awaits. A rebirth, another spark, another beginning. But we don't know. And maybe we're not supposed to. Maybe the purpose is not to solve the mystery, but to live inside it. So humanity keeps looking upward, into distances we cannot measure, toward questions we cannot answer. Yet, because every night sky is not just a view, it is an invitation. And one day, we might discover who or what sent it.
For decades, scientists sent signals into space, radio waves sweeping across the stars, hoping someone might hear them. But one day, a strange question began to emerge. What if something already heard us? Not because it replied, but because something changed. Radio waves sent from Earth begin to fade after a certain distance, but theoretically, fragments of speech, music, and television broadcasts are now more than 100 light-years away, approaching distant stars at the speed of light. That means entire star systems, possibly inhabited, may now be receiving echoes of our history. Imagine it. Some distant civilization, observing a quiet sky, suddenly picks up human voices, speeches, laughter, songs. Civilizations rise, empires fall, all in a fragment of invisible energy crossing their night sky. To them, Earth might already be a myth being broadcast through the void. But the stranger mystery is this. In 2019, astronomers detected a repeating radio signal coming from a single point in deep space, a pattern never seen before. It pulsed every 16 days, then stopped, then started again, as if something or someone wanted to make sure we heard it, but only sometimes. No official explanation was given. The signal still exists. Not alien, not natural, not proven. Just waiting. And scientists began to realize something unsettling. Maybe intelligent life wouldn't send a voice. Maybe they would send a pattern, a pulse. Something that could be recognized even after millions of years. A signature of existence that could endure the collapse of civilizations. A message that simply whispers, "We were here." And the more our technology evolves, the more the universe feels aware, not alive, not conscious, but reactive, like a mirror. It reflects humanity's gaze with mysteries shaped by how far we're willing to look. And somewhere, maybe in data we've already collected, the answer is sitting quietly, waiting to be understood, not discovered. In 2022, a telescope looked at a star 350 light-years away and found something moving around it. Not a planet, not a comet, something geometric. Shape too precise, orbit too exact. For a brief moment, scientists thought we found proof of extraterrestrial engineering, a possible Dyson structure in progress. The data was reviewed, simulations were made, but nothing was certain. Some called it dust, some said sensor error. Others hesitated, because they saw a pattern that looked intentional. Not perfect, not complete, but deliberate. Across the world, researchers stayed awake through the night. Screens glowed in dark rooms while people whispered things they would never publish, because sometimes even scientists fear the weight of discovery. If we truly found evidence of colossal engineering, matching predictions made decades earlier, humanity would have to confront a new possibility. That we are not the first to look toward the stars and wonder what comes next. But fear crept in. Because if that structure really exists, then so does its reason. Maybe it's harvesting energy, or protecting something, or hiding from something else. The idea was quietly withdrawn from press releases. The data remains, archived, public, but unresolved. And yet, it changed something subtle. Many scientists stopped asking, "Are we alone?" and began asking, "What happened to those who came before us?" Perhaps the universe is not empty. Perhaps it is haunted, not by ghosts, but by echoes. Signs of civilizations that reached further than we have, and vanished before we could meet them.
There is an idea that grows every year. Quiet, unstoppable, unsettling. It does not say the universe will end. It asks something far stranger. What if it already has? In quantum theory, there is a concept known as vacuum decay, a theoretical moment, unpredictable, unstoppable, when the fabric of reality suddenly shifts to a lower energy state. If that ever occurs, every atom, every law of physics, every star, planet, and galaxy would instantly be rewritten. Not destroyed, replaced, like a computer rewriting itself while still running. No warning, no survival. The universe would simply change, and we would never know, because even memory would be rewritten. It may have happened before. It may happen again. Or it may be happening right now. This is not science fiction. It is a real physical theory, studied carefully, quietly. Because what can humanity do about a threat it cannot feel? Yet, a few scientists suggest something unexpected. If vacuum decay hasn't happened yet, maybe there's a reason. Maybe physics protects itself. Maybe consciousness has a role. Maybe life, at its deepest mathematical level, helps stabilize reality. What if life is not fragile, but fundamental? What if intelligence is the universe protecting its own existence? It sounds impossible, but not long ago, so did relativity. So did black holes. So did expanding space. So did time dilation. So did every truth we now treat as obvious. Maybe consciousness is the last force we have yet to measure. Or maybe it's already measuring us. There is one more mystery left, one too large for a telescope to see. Something that exists not in space, but in time. Every law of physics says the universe is drifting toward disorder, a gradual fading called heat death. One day, energy will be too thin to form stars. Space will stretch. Motion will stop. The last black hole will evaporate like mist, and silence will win. But some physicists noticed something strange. Life is constantly fighting this process. Every living being, from a single cell to a human brain, works against chaos. It preserves structure. It repairs damage. It builds patterns out of randomness, as if refusing the future written by entropy. It's as though life is saying, "Not yet, not now, not this way." Some have suggested that life may be a cosmic strategy, a defense mechanism written into physics, not accidental, not weak, but necessary, a force to delay oblivion, a way for the universe to hold its final breath a little longer until something new can emerge. Maybe the universe isn't a machine winding down. Maybe it's a seed struggling to survive the cold so that one day it can bloom. And if that's true, then humanity is not insignificant. We are part of a plan we'll never read in full. We are guardians of a flame that should not have existed and must not go out. Somewhere far past the stars, beyond everything we've seen, there may be a moment waiting, a turning point, another beginning. Or perhaps the greatest question is still unanswered. Will the universe end, or will it wake up? The sky remains silent, but silence, in space, is never empty.
Space isn't just empty, it's strategic. Silence might not be the absence of communication, it might be part of it. There is a concept in astrobiology known as the dark forest theory. The universe could be full of civilizations, but none speak, because survival demands silence. Just as animals freeze when danger passes near, perhaps intelligent life does the same on a cosmic scale. Not because no one is listening, but because everyone is afraid to speak first. In a forest, you don't yell your location unless you're the predator or the prey. And Earth? It has been shouting into space with high-powered signals for decades. Our telescopes reach further every year. Our satellites scan frequencies once unreachable. Our Mars probes are built with cameras capable of detecting moving shapes on distant horizons. Some fear that life doesn't evolve in peace. It evolves in a competition for survival, with rules no species wrote and no species fully understands. What if something long ago learned the cost of being found? What if silence is the only evidence they left behind? But here is the paradox. If every species stays silent, no one might ever meet until one voice breaks the rule, a final act of courage or a fatal mistake. And maybe, somewhere, a decision like that was already made. Maybe a signal once echoed across the stars and the universe answered. We don't know how. We don't know when. We just know that whatever happened left no witnesses. Yet Earth keeps transmitting. Our climate shifts. Our atmosphere contains metals and gases that no natural process can produce.
We are emitting signs of intelligence, clearly, loudly, undeniably. And somewhere, beyond what even our best telescopes can touch, something might be watching. Not for war, not for peace, just to see if we survive our own silence or break it. Across multiple cultures, ancient structures were built with breathtaking precision, aligned to solstices, star paths, lunar cycles. But recently, patterns began to appear across continents, patterns hidden for millennia. It was not superstition, it was not luck, it was mathematics and astronomy. The pyramids of Egypt aligned to Orion's belt. Temples in Cambodia echo positions of stars from 10,000 years ago. Petroglyphs in the Americas resemble supernova remnants. Aboriginal star maps in Australia depict motion accurate enough to predict seasonal changes, and modern scientists found them correct. But why? What were they searching for? What were they afraid to forget? When historians reconstructed the oldest star maps known, they found something unexpected. A number. Not a symbol, not a message, a calculation. A prediction of when something would appear in the sky again, something that had already passed once before. People 12,000 years ago knew something. They charted it in stone without knowing its name. Today we call it Oumuamua, the first confirmed interstellar object to pass through our solar system. It didn't act like a comet. It didn't move like an asteroid. It accelerated away, as though something was pushing it. But the old carvings didn't describe what it was. They described its return. And suddenly, the question changed. Not who were the ancients, but what did they see? What event scared them enough to carve warnings onto stone, warnings that lasted longer than any spoken language? Maybe they weren't waiting for gods. Maybe they were waiting for contact, or for history to repeat.
In 2027, a classified observation was made by a deep space analysis program. A radar sweep detected something reflecting light too cleanly, too symmetrically. It was officially dismissed as an artifact of signal interference. But several analysts thought differently. They claimed the object changed direction unnaturally just before disappearing. In leaked transcripts, one researcher wrote only 6 words. It noticed the radar and moved. The report vanished. Funding was quietly cut, yet within months, unrelated governments started increasing their deep space monitoring budgets significantly. Something unspoken circulated behind the scenes. A silent understanding that Earth had reached a threshold. Space was no longer theoretical. It was becoming interactive. But here is the twist. Humanity had long assumed that if intelligent life found us, they would approach with overwhelming superiority. But what if the opposite is true? What if they are studying us cautiously, quietly, nervously? Because perhaps they know what we are now discovering. Intelligence might not scale gently. The moment a species understands its own origin, it may begin fighting its own destiny. And maybe, just maybe, we are the only species they've seen that looked at extinction and started building rockets instead of graves. Perhaps to them, our species is not a threat, it is a test. Space is vast, ancient, dangerous, quiet. But maybe none of that is the real mystery. Maybe the true question is not scientific, but psychological. What happens if humanity finally finds proof we are not alone? Will borders matter? Will nations argue about the sky they share? Would conflict end? or evolve. Psychologists studying future contact scenarios found something chilling. The human brain struggles to process true existential scale. The moment a person fully understands their place in the universe, they may experience a crisis of meaning. Not fear, not belief. A sudden rewriting of purpose. Because when the universe looks back at us, we are forced to answer something we've avoided for centuries. Why are we here? Not as a species, but as individuals. As a mind. As a single awareness existing between two eternities of silence. And maybe that is why contact has not happened yet. Not because others do not exist, but because we are not ready to hear the question they would ask. A message from space might not say, "We are here." It might ask, "Who are you?" And if humanity cannot answer that, then the conversation ends before it begins. Perhaps the universe is not waiting for technology. It is waiting for wisdom. A kind of strength not built in laboratories, but in minds. And one night, sometime in our future, when someone finally looks at the sky and understands it, deeply, fearlessly, maybe that is when the silence will end. But until then, space will keep its secrets, and Earth will keep listening.
Far beyond the familiar skies, beyond the clouds, beyond the stars, lies something strange, something silent, yet alive. Astronomers call it the cosmic web, a network of invisible filaments stretching across the universe like the veins of some ancient, slumbering giant. And inside those filaments, energy pulses, not like lightning, not like power from any machine, but like a heartbeat. Theories once claimed space was empty, a vast nothingness. But now scientists know it's anything but empty. Space is charged. Molecules drift in electric fields stronger than anything humans have ever built on Earth. Magnetic storms stretch across galaxies. Charged particles flash in and out of existence, forming plasma rivers between clusters of galaxies that span billions of light years. One researcher watched the data flicker on his screen and whispered, "It's as if the universe is wired, like it's waiting to switch on." He wasn't entirely wrong. Some physicists believe these plasma structures might even form patterns, not random chaos, but order. One simulation showed a sudden spiral forming in the center of the model, a spiral with a precise rotation exactly matching the shape of galaxies like our own. A perfect spiral, appearing before any stars were born. If this is true, then gravity didn't sculpt the universe alone. Something else helped, something electrical, a force stronger than gravity, shaping matter before light existed. This could change everything. Because if the cosmos behaves like a living organism, if it grows like one, evolves like one, adapts like one, then suddenly our place in it transforms. We're not just floating in space. We might be pieces of something much, much larger, like cells living inside one enormous cosmic body. And if that's true, then maybe the mysteries we've been trying to solve aren't outside of us at all. Maybe we're inside the mystery already. A mystery that listens, a mystery that remembers, a mystery that might be awake. In a secret lab beneath the desert, a group of physicists spent years studying something that wasn't supposed to exist. They were searching for the impossible. Stars made
of dark matter. Something invisible, silent, and colder than anything a human could ever touch. They called them dark stars. Not black holes, not failed suns, but entire stars made from particles that don't reflect light at all. And deep space simulations revealed something shocking. Dark matter stars may have once existed before any other stars were born. If they were real, they would dwarf our sun. Some models say they could grow to 1,000,000 times larger, burning not through fusion, but through the slow annihilation of dark matter. Their glow would be faint, ghostly, and almost undetectable. But for a brief moment in the ancient universe, they might have lit the darkness. One simulation even showed a chilling detail. If these dark stars existed, they didn't die violently. They evaporated, slowly dissolving into the background of space, leaving no trace but a gravitational signature, like a footprint with no traveler. Some scientists searched old infrared telescope archives and found 3 objects that matched the theory. No visible glow, no recognizable spectrum, but something was there. One astronomer stared at the data for hours before saying, "It's like they were never meant to be seen, only felt." If dark stars existed, then the universe began with a ghost light, something that watched over the birth of galaxies, then faded away when its purpose was done. And here's the question that keeps physicists awake at night. What if this process isn't over? What if dark stars are still forming, silently, invisibly, watching us even now?
Some astronauts describe a strange sensation after returning to Earth. It isn't relief, it isn't fear, it's distance. A feeling like their mind is still out there, floating silently above the planet, watching their own body move on autopilot. Psychologists call it the overview effect, but some believe it goes deeper than psychology. A former astronaut once said, "It's like space is still breathing through me." Scientists brushed it off as poetic metaphor until a group of neurologists found something unexpected in brain scans of multiple returning astronauts. Subtle differences in the brain's electrical patterns. Unexplainable, unpredictable, unique to those who had spent time beyond Earth's atmosphere. The brain waves weren't damaged, they were altered, slightly shifted into a frequency rarely seen in ordinary human brains. When asked how they felt, every one of those astronauts responded with eerily similar words. More connected, but to what, I don't know. Researchers then tried something unusual. They simulated deep space conditions in a lab, using sensory deprivation, precise oxygen control, artificial cosmic radiation patterns, and they put volunteer subjects inside. Some reported strange feelings. A few experienced vivid hallucinations. But one subject, a quiet young researcher from Kyoto, didn't see anything at all. Instead, he began to hear something. A pulsing sound, like a heartbeat, but not his own. For hours he sat silently listening. When it ended, he opened his eyes and whispered. It felt like space was breathing, and for a moment, I breathed with it. The scientists dismissed it. No evidence, no recording, just a personal experience. Until they checked the equipment logs and saw a bizarre anomaly. Atmospheric pressure fluctuations matching a rhythm close to the human breathing cycle. They tested every sensor, nothing malfunctioned. The room was sealed,
No breeze, no airflow, no explanation. That researcher left the program soon after, but before he walked away, he wrote 10 words on a scrap of paper and left it on his empty desk. Maybe life didn't evolve from space. Maybe life returned to it. For decades, scientists have mapped thousands of stars, measuring their flickers, their heat, their lifespan. Most behave predictably until one day, a group of stars stopped behaving at all. It began quietly. A single star, catalogued as HD 13927, suddenly dimmed to almost nothing, then returned to normal brightness days later. No supernova, no dust cloud, no orbital interference, just darkness, brief but absolute. Astronomers expected a fluke, but more stars followed, scattered across the sky, dimming, vanishing, reappearing, as if something was passing in front of them, blocking them. Not planets, not debris, too large, too fast, too silent. Then something even stranger happened. The dimming patterns formed sequences, not random intervals, but consistent pulses, different for each star, as though each one was sending something or responding, a silent conversation hidden in plain sight. One astrophysicist proposed an extraordinary hypothesis. These stars weren't malfunctioning. They were being manipulated, bent by gravity fields we couldn't detect, objects we couldn't see. But if something was controlling starlight, what was the purpose? Was it communication? Was it harvesting? Or was it camouflage? Imagine a species so advanced they no longer relied on planets, no longer needed sunlight. Imagine they found a way to live in dark interstellar space, feeding on energies we don't yet understand. We look for life around stars, but maybe life prefers the shadows between them. Some researchers now suspect space might be teeming with civilizations, just not in the places we're searching. One scientist wrote in a confidential internal memo, "If they learned to live in darkness, they wouldn't need to hide from us. We would simply never see them at all." And maybe we already haven't.
Light travels across time, across space, across billions of years. Every sunrise on Earth contains photons that began their journey before humans existed. Some of those photons began their journey before Earth existed. We experience light as warmth, as brightness, as color. But light itself doesn't experience anything. At least that's what we believed. Until scientists began studying a concept called delayed choice quantum erasure, a process suggesting that the past of a photon can be changed after it has already arrived. This means, in a way, light remembers. It responds based not just on where it has been, but where it will go. A photon can wait until the last possible moment to decide what it becomes. Some researchers believe this means reality might not be locked in place, that the universe does not simply exist, but updates itself continuously, and that light, moving across space, could hold memories we haven't yet learned to decode. One experimental physicist said, half-jokingly, "What if space isn't a vacuum, but a library?" Maybe light isn't just illumination. Maybe it carries information, like whispers traveling through cosmic corridors. And maybe some stars are speaking through light, sending messages across millennia. If so, we might already be surrounded by signals, not directed at us, not encrypted, not hidden, just ancient stories traveling on waves we do not yet understand, waiting for something to finally listen. And maybe, one day, when humanity learns how to look differently, we won't just see stars anymore. We'll read them. In an island observatory, far from civilization, there is a telescope that tracks the faintest radio waves known to science. Its operators noticed something strange. Hum, static, and then something like a rhythm, a pulse. Very slow, too slow to be a pulsar, too precise to be noise. It repeated every few days, then every few hours, then every few minutes, as though whatever caused it had suddenly woken up. It didn't match any known star, any known planet, any distant galaxy. It was coming from empty space. The team used triangulation. After weeks of calculations, they found the rough location of the signal. Not a star, not a cloud, but a region of space where, according to all previous astronomical records, there was nothing at all. An empty stretch, a void. But the researchers noticed something. Its coordinates shifted slightly over time, as if whatever caused the signal was moving. They tracked it for months. The pulse never stopped. It only grew more complex until it formed patterns eerily similar to biological rhythms, like breath, like heartbeat. One night, a young researcher stood outside the observatory and looked up. The winds were still. The sky was silent. Yet he felt something unmistakable. The stars weren't above him anymore. They were around him, as though space itself had turned toward Earth. Not threatening, not hostile, but watchful, curious. And a question formed quietly in his mind. A question he didn't dare speak out loud. What if the universe has already seen us? What if, the moment we learned to look outward, something out there finally looked back? And maybe it never stopped.
When stars near the end of their life, they collapse, explode, or fade. That has always been the story, until astronomers found one that didn't follow the rules. It started when a massive blue giant named JX10044 was expected to end in a supernova. Telescopes waited, models predicted its death, but instead of exploding, it simply vanished. No light burst, no shockwave, no trace, just gone. At first, scientists believed dust blocked the view, but infrared scans showed nothing. Radio scans found nothing. It was as if the star had been erased from the sky. Then, weeks later, a burst of ultraviolet radiation appeared from nearly the same coordinates. Incredibly brief, one pulse, then nothing. But something didn't add up. The pulse didn't match a supernova pattern. It was too structured, too clean, almost like a signal. One astrophysicist quietly suggested an impossible idea. What if the star didn't die? What if it transformed? Not into a black hole, not into a neutron star, but into something science hadn't yet defined, something post-stellar, a form of matter beyond collapse, beyond time, a state that isn't death, but departure. The research was halted before any papers could be published. Funding was pulled. The telescope data, sealed. But an anonymous recording from someone inside the project surfaced weeks later. A voice, distorted, shaky, reading what might be part of a log entry. Maybe stars don't burn out. Maybe some learn how to escape gravity. Maybe some stars choose their own ending. And if that's true, if some stars don't die, but leave, where did they go? What did they become? And why? Did one of them look directly at Earth before disappearing? The universe is always moving, but not everything moves through space. Some things move within it. Invisible tides, rivers of gravitational force. Not wind, not waves, something stranger. Scientists call it gravitational drift, subtle movements in space-time itself, like currents in an unseen ocean. One research team attempted to measure these currents using deep space probes. For months, they saw nothing, just the void. Then, suddenly, all 3 probes accelerated in the same direction, without fuel, without propulsion, without any reason, as if something pulled them. Their trajectories matched a wave, not electromagnetic, not solar, but gravitational. A wave traveling faster than models allowed. Something ancient and vast, like a tsunami across the fabric of reality. One scientist suggested it might be the echo of something massive, a collision from billions of years ago still rippling across the universe. But another theorist disagreed. He believed it was active, that something was producing the wave right now, not an echo. Something alive. He explained it like this. If gravity bends space and space holds time, then something moving through space-time might not just travel past us, it might travel beyond us, through dimensions we don't yet know exist, like wind that humans can't feel. The probes kept drifting until their signals were lost, but before they vanished, one of them detected a pattern in the wave. 4 clean pulses, repeating. Not natural. Not random. Not human. Whatever it was, it moved through space faster than light, but too gently to be violent, too precise to be chance. Maybe the universe isn't empty. Maybe something is traveling, just out of sight. Not with engines, not with wings, but with gravity itself.
There is a question physicists often avoid. What happens to light after it dies? Light can travel for billions of years until dust absorbs it, black holes swallow it, or it simply fades into background radiation. But some light, according to new theories, doesn't disappear. It converts into something silent, something that still moves but cannot be seen. They call it ghost light, not haunting but enduring. A theoretical energy form that keeps traveling after photons lose identity. It doesn't reflect, it doesn't illuminate, but it remembers movement, direction, history. Recently, astronomers studying far ultraviolet emissions found a strange anomaly. Light patterns that shouldn't exist, trails leading to no source, like shadows without an object, like footprints without a traveler. After weeks of analysis, a realization hit them. These trails weren't coming from stars. They were coming from past stars, stars that no longer exist. In other words, light was still traveling from objects that had already died, like memories still flying across space trying to reach someone. That discovery raised a chilling possibility. If light holds memory, does space hold grief? A philosopher of physics suggested an extraordinary thought. What if the universe never forgets anything? What if every moment that ever happened is still out there, somewhere, traveling invisibly? Maybe time doesn't pass, maybe it spreads. That concept, if ever proven true, would change everything. Because then the past would not be gone. It would be waiting. Not far from the Milky Way's center, there is a region astronomers call the silent zone. Radio signals vanish there. Light dims, not because of dust, not because of distance, but because something absorbs it. This is beyond the black hole known as Sagittarius A. Deeper still. A curious void, but not empty. Evidence suggests the area is structured, like an architecture within space. When simulations were run, something eerie emerged. Formations that looked geometric, zigzag, spiral, even lattice-like. Not random, not chaotic, but deliberate. A researcher from Prague spent 6 months studying the patterns. Then, abruptly, he resigned. On his final report, he wrote something no scientist dared claim openly. This is not a dead zone. This is a place where the universe rewrites itself. He wasn't the only one. Other researchers quietly admitted a similar suspicion. This zone wasn't breaking physics. It was beyond physics, beyond anything currently measurable. The implication was extraordinary. What if some areas of space are not destinations, but thresholds? Cross them, and you may not simply go somewhere else, you may go beyond somewhere. A limit where light stops, where time slows, where information no longer behaves the way humans expect. And maybe, just maybe, something has already crossed that boundary. Not human, not alien, but something older. Something the universe created to carry its deepest secrets. The kind of secrets that cannot be stored inside matter. The kind that require space itself to remember. And if that's true, the question is no longer whether we are alone. The question is, have we already reached the edge of someone else's map? And what waits on the other side?
There exists a region of space astronomers once believed was completely empty. A void with no stars, no gas, no dust, not even dark matter. They called it the Great Nothing, a name so unsettling that most textbooks avoided mentioning it. For decades, telescopes pointed elsewhere. Why waste time staring at emptiness? But then, one year, an observatory in New Zealand accidentally registered a weak frequency coming from that void. Not light, not radio, something else, something no one could classify. It wasn't a signal, it wasn't noise, it was presence. The observatory thought it was equipment failure. They tested everything, calibrated again and again. Still, the reading returned. A soft pattern, a slow pulse, irregular but unmistakably deliberate. When pointed somewhere else, it vanished. When pointed back, it returned. So scientists tried transmitting toward it. Simple pulses, ones and zeros, a basic greeting. For 3 days, nothing happened. Then suddenly, the void responded. Not with complex signals, not with math, not with language, but with a direct reflection. The exact same sequence pulsing back to Earth. As though something out there was simply listening. Skeptics declared it random interference, a cosmic echo. They dismissed it, case closed. But one quiet researcher stayed behind after the project was abandoned. Night after night, he realigned the telescope, rechecked the frequency, resent the pulses, and finally, something strange happened. The sequence returned, but slightly altered, not mirrored, not repeated, just changed. It wasn't random, it wasn't intelligent, but it was responsive, like wind, like water, like something that doesn't speak, but reacts. His final note before quitting read, "Maybe the void isn't empty. Maybe it's a sea. And maybe, long ago, something learned to swim in it. The stars are loud, the planets are noisy, but in the silence, something moved, and Earth moved with it." There is a star in the Orion Arm called RZ 913, known for its brightness, until one night it changed direction. Stars don't turn, they don't pivot, they don't alter their angle in space. But RZ 913 did, not physically, but optically. Its light shifted away from Earth as if it had chosen to look somewhere else. Telescopes confirmed it. The star hadn't dimmed, it had focused its energy, as if concentrating its radiance toward a single unknown point in space. When researchers calculated the new directional shift, they were baffled. The star wasn't pointing at another star, not a nebula, not a galaxy. It was directing its light toward a part of space with nothing in it, a perfect void. Days passed, weeks. Then one night, the star suddenly dimmed, and a faint light flickered from the void itself. Not bright, not powerful, but synchronized with RZ 913, almost like a reply. This was impossible. Light cannot receive, it only travels. Yet the void responded, weaker, slower, but unmistakably in time. A professor who reviewed the data had trouble speaking for nearly a minute. Then she whispered, "Stars don't talk, but what if they cooperate? What if light isn't just illumination? What if it's a connection? What if stars can redirect their energy, like turning their heads, to illuminate something that human eyes aren't yet meant to see?" One theorist pushed the idea even further. Perhaps stars are not isolated objects. Perhaps every star is part of a system, a network, a structure, and what we see is just the surface. The observing team increased their efforts, larger telescopes, more data, but suddenly, RZ 913 vanished from every spectrum. It didn't explode, it didn't move, it simply turned away permanently. And to this day, whatever it was illuminating remains unseen.
Thousands of years ago, a photon left a distant galaxy and began traveling toward Earth. A journey across billions of light years. A journey that should have ended the moment it reached our atmosphere. But before it arrived, it changed course. In 2024, that photon was detected by a satellite studying high-energy particles. It moved against expectation, not under gravity, not through interference, but by decision. It turned. Why? No known law could explain it. Particles do not choose their paths, yet this one traveled hundreds of miles, then sharply veered away from Earth, as though something repelled it. Not magnetism, not radiation, not anything measurable. But after lots of modeling, a strange possibility emerged. The photon didn't avoid Earth, it avoided something around Earth. Not a force, a pattern, a structure, something invisible yet influenceable. Something faintly similar to a magnetic field, but far more delicate, like an aura,
like a signature. One researcher proposed a radical idea. What if Earth is wrapped in a field we haven't detected yet? Something that reacts not to matter, but to consciousness. It sounded absurd, until they ran the model again, but this time incorporating human activity, brain waves, Wi-Fi, communication frequencies, digital pulses, and suddenly, the simulation predicted the photon's deflection perfectly. As if Earth's growing network of thoughts and signals, billions of human interactions, had created a new kind of field, a veil, a border between world and cosmos. Not a wall, not a shield, but a whisper, a subtle resistance, something that seems to say, "This world is occupied. Something is thinking here." Some theorists believe time is not constant, but a surface, a thin barrier stretched across reality, holding past and future apart. But what if it doesn't hold perfectly? A physicist in Germany conducted a private experiment based on quantum retrocausality, the idea that future events could influence the past. Using entangled photons, she attempted a test others had abandoned as nonsense. She changed the conditions after the measurements were taken, and the results changed with them. That shouldn't be possible. Records cannot rewrite themselves. Yet the photons behaved as though they knew the future condition before it happened. After weeks of confirmation, she went silent. She deleted her papers. She never spoke publicly again. But internal logs leaked months later. Her final note simply read, "Maybe time does not pass. Maybe time listens." If that is true, then maybe reality isn't unfolding like a line, but layering like memory. Every decision, every breath, every heartbeat, adding not to history, but to depth. Maybe time isn't moving forward. Maybe we are sinking into it. And if the future can change the past, what does that mean for the present? Are we writing time or being written by it? Perhaps the real question isn't what lies ahead. Perhaps it's, has the future already seen us coming?